My name is Maxwell Geiger, and this is my final for EDU292. It's called The State Championship Story, a continuous moment of growth. The locker room was silent except for the wailing in the corner of the locker room from our senior leader. We had just lost in the state playoffs in a game that came down to the wire with a team that could have been state champions. I was just a lowly sophomore, absorbing the sights and sounds of that locker room like a sponge, unable to grasp that their season was over. And just like that, we had lost 7 seniors, and a few weeks later, we had lost our head coach. Our head coach was the consummate leader, a true professional, and a selfless individual, always focused on the success of others. Enter our junior year, everything had changed. Our new head coach was the total opposite of the spectrum, selfish, condescending, unable to work well with others. His ego was too large to fit in a doorway, and it was truly a baffling hire by our school. It led us to the bottom of the standings, blowout after blowout. Junior year was a season from hell, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel. Players wouldn't speak to the coach, and many parents resented him and his approach. After junior year, myself and the other soon-to-be seniors knew that a change needed to be made, and we had one goal in mind for that next year, and that was to be state champions. And we knew that our old coach was the coach and the man to take us there. Fast forward to our last week of our junior year before summer break. Our coach from hell had departed the school for greener pastures, and we were called to a meeting for the future of the basketball program. At the meeting, our new principal, who was a former basketball coach at the school, had pulled back the curtain in the auditorium just to reveal that our old basketball coach was going to become our new basketball coach, and once again, our head coach of our school. Our junior year, we had no seniors on our team, so heading into that final season, we had the exact same team besides our new coach. We believed that with that team, even in the bottom of the standings the year prior, we could take a leap to that upper echelon. Fast forward once again to the start of state senior season, and we felt like it was our turn and our time. Our captains were all back, our coaches back, we were senior laden and ready to rock and roll, and as our season began, we met a lot of early success. We were shooting the ball well, and if we lost the team, we'd eventually beat them later on. We didn't really feel like anyone could beat us or figure us out. We became a top 5 team in the state and stayed that way until the playoffs. We faced minimal opponent adversity throughout the season. During the year, our biggest opponent was ourselves, and it became a theme for us that transcended basketball. Whether we were the most talented team or not, we believed that we were the best. And when we weren't at our best, it wasn't just because we were beaten by our opponents, but all of our losses were ourselves shooting our own selves in the foot. This is a lesson that we continued to learn throughout the season, and I thought about this idea about beating yourself as the bus pulled into the arena for the state championship game, for the last game of the season, and we had one final chance to prove ourselves and to everybody else that knew our mission, that we were capable and able of fulfilling it and pulling it off. Walking into the arena, you could feel thousands of people in the stands. The buzz was surrounding you like a warm hug. We were the favorite in our final high school game of our careers. Our confidence was sky high, and we were as close to walking on the clouds as one could be before actually taking off. Insert an 11-point deficit at halftime, and everything changed. The air weighed on the shoulders, the silence was deafening, and not a single head looked up in the clouds that we were just gracing a couple quarters ago, I should say. Was it actually meant to be? Were we supposed to be champions? We were just taking a hook and a jab, and we were icing down in the corner with an opponent staring us down from the other side of the ring. And as the silence began to grow heavier, myself and another team leader stood up and began to question our team as a whole. Is this really what we had come all this way for? Was this our destiny, close but no cigar? Do we really want to watch this be taken by us from a team that we know that we are better than? We were losing it on our teammates like John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction, and our teammates began to see the clouds with us once again. As we walked back onto the floor, we looked up at our parents, all sitting together amongst the thousands of fans, most of whom were opposing fans. The look on their faces was the last time, and I'm sure many of my teammates would say this, that as a child I saw my parents wanting something more for me. Our coach brought our starting 5 back in. One last huddle before we took the floor for the second half. The energy was palpable, and that we declared that it was time to secure what we had set out for years ago. 24 minutes left, and everything was still on the table, even with our odds stacked against us. As the ball bounced to start the second half, my teammate and I, who had spoken up, we started a 9-0 scoring run to pull the game within a single basket. You know, it's funny how things can change so quickly. in a game like basketball, but even in life as well. You know, I think about this game every once in a while as an adult, almost a decade removed from the moment, to remind myself that it can all change just in an instant. That 9-0 run sparked the second half that was out of a movie script for a squad, and the game ended. A senior I had grown up with, and as the game ended, a senior that I had grown up with for well over a decade and a close friend of mine tackled me with the force of an elephant. You know, we had told each other as kids that if we ever did win the state championship, after we had watched his brother lose one, that we would tackle each other and have the biggest hug of all time. A manifestation from our childhood had become a reality, and the manifestations from our previous years had come to fruition. Nobody had picked us to win a state championship but us and the people that believed in us. Prologue. It was difficult to, capture the true essence of the story in less than 1,500 words and in less than 5, 6, 7 minutes. But this dedication to completing this mission and leading a group of peers with a common goal, understanding how others work, what motivates them, what their why is, communicating with transparency for the betterment of others, and never giving up when the odds are against you, are all things that I took from this experience in my late childhood years that, I now carry with me in my professional life and, even in my personal life. I struggled to choose or create a final story for this class, but I wanted to try and capture the most impactful late childhood memory while still incorporating the 8 elements and good descriptors. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you.